Professor's nice.
Yeah, thank you so much. Everyone can hear me okay in the back? Excellent. So, yeah, thank you to the organizers of this event for inviting me to come here tonight. I'm with Oregonians for Medical Freedom. My name is Luke Yamaguchi. So I'm a functional nutritionist in Albany, Oregon, but I recently joined the board of directors for Oregonians for Medical Freedom, given all that's been going on in our state as far as the mandated vaccination and mask policies that we're seeing not only here in Oregon and in the neighboring states, the West Coast, but in states across the country and in countries across the world. So Oregonians for Medical Freedom, I'll just tell you a little bit about that organization. It was founded in 2015 by a great gentleman named Bob Snee, who's in the audience. I'm very glad to see him here tonight. And the organization is volunteer run. It's a nonprofit organization that was created to defend our rights to bodily autonomy and informed consent. Our mission is threefold: to protect vaccine exemptions, to promote informed consent rights, and to preserve medical privacy. But we need your help because we're currently in unprecedented times. So as you all know, Kate Brown has issued a slew of mandates, all of which came about in less than 30 days, mandating masks first for school children, kids, K through 12, then for all indoor establishments, and then for all outdoor public spaces statewide. And then she mandated the COVID vaccine, right, for state employees, K through 12 school teachers and staff, and then healthcare workers across the state. So that's what we're up against. And how this relates to maybe, I guess the topic of tonight is election integrity and data integrity, but one of the common themes that we see is a lot of corruption. There's a lot of corruption behind the scenes, there's a lot of corrupt data, and we have a lot of corrupt institutions in our government, and it's been that way for a long time. So to understand how we got here today, how many people have seen the documentary? It came out recently. It's called 1986, The Act. Has anyone seen that documentary? Okay, that's all right. What happened in 1986 was really pivotal to how we got here today. There was legislation that was passed that basically removed liability from pharmaceutical companies that manufacture vaccines. It shielded them from liability. Our government gave them indemnification so we could no longer sue vaccine manufacturers for injuries caused by vaccines. So if a vaccine injures you or your loved one or a child, or if they even die, you can't sue. In almost all cases, you can't sue the vaccine manufacturer. They get a free pass. Instead, what happened is they decided that we, the taxpayers, would foot that bill. So they would put an excise tax on every vaccine that's sold, and they would put that into a fund, and then they'd create a compensation program. So people who were injured by vaccines could petition that fund, that compensation program, and if they were lucky, maybe they would be able to get some kind of compensation. So to date, over $4 billion has been paid out to compensate individuals who've been injured by vaccines. If we fast forward now to today, it's an even worse situation because we have something called the PrEP Act, which made it so that the COVID vaccines are under emergency use authorization. And so that gives them even greater legal protection from being sued. So now you don't even qualify for compensation through the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. So basically now, if you can take a COVID vaccine, if you or a loved one or a child is injured or, God forbid, even dies, you're pretty much on your own. You're not going to be able to get any compensation. You're not going to be able to sue the vaccine manufacturers for that injury or that damage. So we're on the verge of a situation where we have a liability-free pharmaceutical product being mandated on the masses, and they have nothing to lose. The pharmaceutical companies don't have to do any marketing. It's all profits for them, right? So if we have, and now there's talk with Joe Biden and Tony Fauci of COVID booster shots, right? Have you all heard of this? Like every 5 or 6 months, you have to get another booster shot?
Yeah. And then there's the pills.
And now they're creating another medication to treat COVID because the vaccines aren't working as well as they'd like them to work, right? So we know that the COVID vaccines unfortunately can't prevent infection and transmission. It can only, at best, perhaps provide some protection to the individual, but that's not going to stop them from pushing vaccine mandates and vaccine passports, even though it makes no rational sense whatsoever, right? So in a free country, you get to choose what goes inside your body. You get to choose what kind of medicines and medical interventions you want to say yes to, and which ones you want to say no to.
That's right.
And if you want to get the vaccine, that's absolutely your choice. I respect that 100%. And if you don't want to get the vaccine, I also respect that 100%. And if the vaccine doesn't change transmission, it doesn't prevent infection, and you can still be contagious to other people, then why have a vaccine passport? And so I'm still waiting for someone to explain that to me. And because it used to be that, you know, we needed to have herd immunity, and there's certain immunocompromised, vulnerable people in our population, we need to get vaccinated for them. But they don't have that argument anymore, right? So now they're saying, well, the hospitals are going to be overwhelmed. And so if the hospitals are overwhelmed, our society is going to collapse. So now everyone has to get the vaccine, and that's being used as a justification for these mandates. And so I think we all need to come together, regardless of our differences, whatever they may be, political, racial, religion, whether we're vaccinated or not vaccinated. I think we all need to come together as one people in defense of medical freedom and bodily autonomy. So the last thing I'll say is just a pitch for our organization, because we really do need your help. And so if you want to get involved, you can go to our website, Oregoniansformedicalfreedom.com. You can sign up for our free email newsletter so we can stay in touch with you. We will keep in the loop. We can stay together, work together. Also on our website, again, Oregoniansformedicalfreedom.com, we have an events page where you can see upcoming events that you can participate in if you'd like to. And we have a big rally coming up this Saturday, September 18th, at the Capitol building in Salem at noon. So we're going to try to get as many people there as we can. And I just want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you all for defending liberty, freedom, and standing up for medical freedom and informed consent. Thank you very much.